What's up? This is Agent Jay, and welcome to From Broke to Boardwalk. I'm your host today. I'm excited to have you here. This is a brand new segment we have started to help encourage people on their road to financial independence, financial security, and financial freedom. So I wanted to share a little bit about my experiences. As always, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to From Broke to Boardwalk on YouTube, as well as on Facebook and From Broke to Boardwalk.com. We're really excited. Listen, we're here to help you. I know that it's been a journey for some of you. Some of you, you got right there. Some of us, it's taken a while. And that's a part of what my testimony is. It's a way to encourage you to say, listen, don't give up. We might right there be on the precipice. There's a few adjustments we may have to make. We may have to change our determination. We may have to change our circle. We may need to increase our discipline, but we can achieve these goals. That's what this show is about. I have a very crazy story, but I'll just share some with you with the time that I have. So it all started out back in early 2022. Well, let me take you back a step. In the summer of 2021, approaching the 4th of July, I purchased a online real estate class, and I had kind of felt led to do it for about a year or two, but I wasn't taking it too seriously. And over time, I started taking the classes. Now, keep in mind, I'm 40, approaching 41 at this time, and I have been out of school for some 20 years. And I'm back in school, and I'm doing online. And I'm not an online student, but I realized I've got to, as one of my friends would say, I have to improvise, adapt, and overcome if I want to succeed. I know God's going to give me favor, but I know that faith without works is dead. So there's some things on my end that I have to do to make myself more suitable for the job. I got to make some changes if I want to make it right. So I'm taking this class. So far, so good. It's a lot of note taking and whatnot. Typical stuff for students and people who are accustomed to this. Me, I was like, yo, this is weird. I can't get down with this. But I knew I had the goal at the end was to get my license, make a deal, and transform my life, my family's life, and my children's life, my friends' life, with the opportunities to be financially free. So here I am going through it, doing pretty well. Things are picking up. Excuse me. It was a very pleasant experience for me. And I learned a lot about myself being 40 at the time. That obviously I enjoyed succeeding. I enjoyed passing the test. I was a little discouraged when I wouldn't pass, but I also knew that if I made some modifications, if I went back and really studied and really learned how to be a good student, a great student, that I would have that transformation. So it started happening. I was a sponge. So I was obtaining all the information, but didn't realize what I needed to hold on to and what I needed to let go of. So it was a really, really cool experience. And lo and behold, I started participating in something, and I stopped making time for my online school. So it's actually another segment called the Jesus Talk Podcast 365. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook under the Jesus Talk Podcast. And it was a very wonderful thing for me. But I realized I was taking time away from what my original goal was. It wasn't the podcast's fault. It was my fault because I wasn't dedicating time. I wasn't prioritizing things very well. Right. It happens to the best of us. So I ended up getting COVID in late December, Omicron, and it put me down. But as I came to, by the grace of God, I started watching a Bible study. And I realized that, oh my gosh, the Lord had shown me you need to go back and finish getting your real estate license. Now, it's important to be obedient to the Lord. And as you all know, I'm a Christian. And for those of you who don't know, now you know. It's important to listen to the voice of the Lord. So what happened was when I heard the Lord say that you need to go back and finish your real estate class, I was not aware, or I wasn't aware, and I had forgotten that this program is a 6-month program. And you have 6 months to start and finish, or you will generally, depending on the situation, have to retake the class all over and pay again. So the Lord obviously knew that I was approaching my 6 month mark. I got some leniency because I had gotten COVID, and I needed to hurry and take the test, finish. Now I was on like chapter 20. There's 28 modules, so we had to book through that, and that was intense. But we got there. Thank God we got there. So now I'm in a situation where I've got like 3 weeks. We got 3 weeks left in the month to get this thing done. And typically, when you take a test in this particular class, when you miss the answer, it gives you the right answer. But when it comes to this particular, main test at the end of the class, because you have to take the school test, you finish the course, you take the school test, you take a contract writing class, but not in that order, and then you get your certificate once you pass both, and you can go apply for the state test almost immediately, well, within 24 hours, generally speaking. So I had already taken a contract class, but with the school test, you were not allowed to see the answers that you missed. So obviously it was frustrating, but it pushed you to change your methods. You either had to go back and look up the information, or you had to go back and look up that question and say, okay, have I seen this question before? What have my answers been in the past? It's this whole rigmarole thing. And depending on who you are, something works for you over here, maybe something doesn't work for you over here. It depends on the individual, right? So with all that being said, I took the test and I lost. I had to take so the first time I took the test, let me get it straight. The first time I took the test, I thought I know enough information. I don't need notes. I can come in here. I can roll right through this thing and I'm going to pass. And that was not the case. You had to get 113 right out of 115, which gave you about an error of being able to miss about 25 or 27 questions, something to that extent. Don't quote me. And out of 113, I got like, I don't know, 60 questions or 54 questions. So I knew like a third of the information basically, which wasn't too bad for me because I had knew coming in, I'm going to have to take this several times if I'm going to pass. So I was kind of like, okay, I know a third of it. So let's work on the other 2/3. So by going through the 2/3, taking the other test, I started acquiring more information. I started changing my study habits. Now, keep in mind, I knew that I was, again, probably going to have to do this several times because that's generally how it worked when I was taking the other test. I might have to take the test 3 or 4 times in order to pass it. It's just the way I'm structured. I don't know why it's like that, but I'm just like that and I'm working on it, right? So I'm acquiring more answers. I'm studying better. I'm realizing the ones I missed. I'm going through the process of elimination. I'm doing some research, right? So now we're at test number 4, school test number 4. And in the middle of school test number 4, like leading up to it, I had one car in the shop. I had one car that wasn't working. So now I am walking to the school. The school from my house, God really put me at the right school. It was about less than 2 miles away from my house. So now I'm walking to the school. I got my backpack on. You have to be there by noon because it's generally a 3-hour class test, 3 to 4 hour class. So you got to get in there and get rolling. So I had to leave at a certain time, right? Like catching a bus, leave at a certain time. Anticipate the walk, get there, take the test, get set up, get out, go on with your day. So now I have to walk. And it was like, I felt like this is the worst thing in the world for me. Like, why is this happening? And I had to learn on test days. There's certain things you shouldn't have going on. And this is going to be common sense to some of you, but for someone who hadn't been a student in over 20 years, this was foreign to me. Because I've always felt like I was confident enough to go in through the process of elimination or whatever and just kind of do enough to achieve it, not get by, but I think based on my wits, I have enough to accomplish it and I'll be fine, right? And I can go on and make some corrections and go from there. That was my mindset. But in walking there, it felt like that I was going down. My cars are in the shop, my money's running low, and then I lost my wallet. So now I have like 4 or 5 bills that are all due in like an 8-day period. So I can't pay these bills. Some people are willing to negotiate with me and give me time. Some people aren't giving me any time because it's just business. And I had that weight on my shoulders, along with the fact that I wasn't used to being broke and struggling, and I wasn't really in a great situation already. So it just felt like things were being compounded, and I was like, Lord, where are you at? I don't see you here. So in the midst of all that, learning my place, I go to take the test the fourth time. Now we're on test 4, and I failed it. But I was gradually getting better. Like I was gaining like 15 points a test, pretty much. Just one test, I went down a couple of points, but thereafter I gained like 15 points a test. So you could see improvement. It was a really, really good feeling. And this is all in the book. This is all in the book, From Broke to Boardwalk, right? And lo and behold, I leave, and I was in good spirits for a while because I understood you got to crawl before you walk. We're going to have to do this a couple of times. Don't worry about it. But I got to a point where I was walking down the street, and I'm not really an emotional guy. Like, I'm not one to turn to tears. I'm a goofy guy. I get upset, all of that, but I'm not really a tearjerker. And I broke out crying walking down the street. And I guess the fourth loss really started showing me, is this going to work? Is this really worth it? Right? So, of course, I went home. My daughter is like, did you pass that? Did you pass? And I'm like, honey, listen, from here on out, let's not approach me and say, did you pass? Because it makes me feel worse, and it's not your fault, because you're excited and you have, hopes and dreams behind this too, but it makes it a little harder for me. So let me just let you know when I pass, and if not, let's just not talk about it. So she understood, and we go into test 5. So you always come home, you kind of go through it. You review your notes, you see what you got right, you see what you got wrong, you make your adjustments, you add it to your notes, because this was an open book test at my school anyway, open book test. So that makes you feel even worse, because you're like, what the heck? I can't pass this class. This is open book. I went through all these chapters or modules or whatever you want to call it, and I'm at the end now, and I can't pass these freaking tests. This is crazy. This is some trash right here, bro. This is trash. So you go through all these range of emotions, and sometimes I'm in the room with somebody who is a talky, a chatty Cathy, and sometimes I'm in the room with people who are like as quiet as a mouse, and all great experiences for me. And so you go from test 4, and you come back for another round. You go to test 5, you fail it again, but you're getting better. So I had made the mistake of telling my family in like a group chat type thing, okay, guys, I had a dream, because I did have a dream, and God speaks to me in dreams as a believer. And I had a dream that I was taking the test, and I got a 91%. And within the dream, I was excited, and I woke up and I was shocked. Like, I clicked on the test, and then I waited a couple of seconds, and it popped up and said I had a 91% and I passed. And I was so happy. I woke up and that was the last dream I had. So I'm texting my family, today's the day God's going to bless me. The Lord showed me this dream. Hallelujah. They're all, hallelujah. Amen. Yes, Lord. Sincere excitement. Right. And I go to the school. I walk to the school to take the test. And what happens? I bombed. I'm getting closer, but I bombed. So now I'm like, Lord, what the heck? And let me tell you right there, in failure and in success, we still need to have reverence for the Lord. If things don't work out, he's still a good God. If things don't work out, he's still a good God. I cannot be disrespectful to the Lord because of my circumstances. I truly expected for the Lord to walk in. This is going to sound silly, but I know I'm not the only one. I expected for the Lord to show me some of those answers. Lord, what is it? It is C, my son. C. No, my son. It is all of the above. All of the above. Not the case for me, my friend. So I'm going through these different ranges of emotions. And of course I failed. And now I'm at the verge where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this a couple more times and I'm gonna quit. I'm just gonna quit. And then I was like, but what am I gonna go on to? I have goals and dreams behind this. What am I gonna go on to? Now I have no problem working the other jobs, but I felt a connection to this. There's some passion behind this. I have been shown dreams and other things that are going to transpire behind this. And I remember even the Lord had been talking to me and my sister, and the Lord had said that He's going to make the most money in this family going forward, and I'm preparing you for that transition. And He's going to be a blessing, and He's going to help out in many ways. He's going to shoulder some of the burden for some people financially going forward. So it was all written in stone. It was a matter of just grinding through the process. So we go into test number 6. I'm gotten better. I didn't quite pass. And I'm like, man. And keep in mind, I still am disputing my credit cards and my debit cards. And some people work with me and some people aren't. Now we go into test number 7. Again, you need a minimum of 113 to pass. So I'm at test number 7. And I go in there, I feel really prepared. Now I've realized that there's like an algorithm going on here. Maybe that's the wrong term. But there are 7 tests I've taken as of that morning. Some of the questions from the first 2 tests didn't appear in test 3, 4, 5, or 6, but they reappeared in 7. So I said, okay, I get it now. Again, I'm not a test taker. I haven't been to school in years. So this is all trial and error and a bit of logic. And I said, some of these questions are reappearing. So I went back and I was able to identify some of them from the previous test. So my score eventually jumped to 101, which meant I failed. However, I was 12 short of passing. So I said, okay, all right, we're getting there. I also decided from here on, I'm not sending out any more group texts, giving my status. Hey guys, I'm going to take my test. Pray for me. No, we're not doing that anymore. I'll just let you know when I pass. So it didn't work out, but I was close and I was motivated. I'm going to take it again. So we go up to, we get home, my daughter and I, my kid, we review the notes, we go over, because I say, hey, listen, we're all invested in this. So we're going to do this together. And because when I win, we win. That's what I've always said. We're a team. When I win, we win. When you win, I win. We're a team. So going into test 8, took the test. Guess what? I passed. God allowed me to pass. And I remember leaving just cheesing. And I looked at the certificate and I got home. I was sitting, looking at the paper, and I was thinking, I'm going to have to write a book. I'll have to write a book. This has been a crazy experience. And this is just passing the school test. This isn't even addressing the state test or my first deal, my first loss, or, my first purchase of my own property, my first purchase of, my first time being a landlord. This wasn't that experience. I hadn't gotten there yet, but I had always felt like I had a book coming. So the other day I was sitting there thinking, what would be a good title for a book? What would be a good title for a series? So I always felt like my experiences were not just for me, but they were for other people to help encourage them to know that you have to understand rejection is a part of business. It's a part of your regular life, your private life, but rejection is a part of business too. So there was these things that I was learning, these experiences that I always felt like I've got to share this with other people who feel a passion, or they may not have the knowledge or all the information or the motivation or the support to do it. And I want to create a space to help them one day position themselves to achieve. As a believer, I believe we can achieve. We're going to have letdowns. There will be failure, but it's all for the purpose. So I created this segment called From Broke to Boardwalk. And Boardwalk is obviously a piece from Monopoly, one of my favorite games, that reminded me that's the kind of lifestyle I want to have. So I want to encourage you to come back. We'll talk again on another segment. This was just segment one. We've got a long road to go down, but it's going to be a great experience because we want to build you up and we want to support you and say that you can do it. You're not alone. Okay. I will see you next time. Have a blessed day. I'm praying for you. Remember, God has a plan for you. It's not over yet. Hang in there. Let's see this thing to the end.